Good afternoon, everyone. Hopefully, everyone is having a great day. I'm still in Colombia. Still probably have a little less than a week, but I still have a couple of days left. And there's just a lot of things that I've been really comparing Colombia to Brazil. And when I say that, I mean Medellin, Colombia versus Rio, Brazil. And believe it or not, a lot of it has a lot of similarities in some regards, and a lot of it has a lot of differences. Now, some of the differences that I've actually seen is the infrastructure. Anytime you go to another land, you want to look at the infrastructure, you want to make sure that things are operating correctly. Colombia, on one hand, has 110-volt power that I absolutely didn't know at any point. Where Rio, as you know, your travel adapter, here you can bring your American appliances, plug them right in, all of it works. I thought at first it was just retrofitted for American products because a lot of people use Airbnb from America. But no, the entire country uses 110, as far as my knowledge. Now, the most important thing is this. Outside of traveling, the number one thing, in my opinion, is building. Whether you are making yourself smarter, you are building generational wealth. And then secondly is traveling, because what it does, any stereotypes or any thoughts you may have or perceptions you may have by a particular place is absolutely debunked once you land on ground. And that's very important. Next to, wealth building and educating yourself, for me, traveling is number two, and it's one of the most important things. And I absolutely believe that you guys should get out and travel, because when we was in Brazil, me personally, I don't believe that the infrastructure in Brazil is as good as Colombia. Now, for a long time, I guess, being a ignorant American, I thought that Colombia was a third world country. And then as I got here, I said, well, maybe Colombia is a second world country. And now I'm to the point where maybe Colombia is a first world -2 country. And that's because the infrastructure is, from what I've seen, is 100% intact. And for me, that means a lot, especially when it comes to travel, when it comes to safety, when it comes to just getting around. Yesterday, a buddy of mine that we're traveling together, we went to a place, and I may butcher the name, called Guadatepe, in a town called El Pino. And it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been in my life. I've never heard of this place. I don't even believe when he was doing his research that this was even mentioned. Now, tomorrow we're going to go on another tour called the City and Graffiti Tour. Of course, I'm going to take lots of pictures. I'm going to do some short video clips so guys can get some of that information as well. But believe it or not, I definitely believe that you guys should really get out and travel. And coming to Colombia, there are Black Colombians, okay? And what I hate about, let me tell you something. What I hate about traveling, family, is that everywhere I go, Black people are always labeled and considered as Afro or African, right? They can't just be Colombian. They can't just be Venezuelan. They can't just be Brazilian. They're Afro-Brazilian, Afro-Colombian, Afro-Venezuelan, Afro-American or African-American. We can't just be that nation, even though we were there since the countries even started. And you notice the white or lighter skinned people of that nation are literally considered Colombian, Venezuelan, Brazilian, and American. We have to get out this ideology, because essentially everybody's roots stem from Africa. So in that case, if we're going to say that melanated people with darker skin are quote unquote Afro, then we need to be calling everybody Afro for that extent. You get what I'm trying to say? Because essentially, when they put this label on us, wherever we are in the world outside of Africa, they put this Afro, and outside of Africa and the Caribbean, they put this Afro on top of this. Here's the thing. A lot of these people were colonized by Spain, by the Portuguese. So my thing is, why aren't you calling yourself Spain Colombians? I know, right? Spanish Colombians or Portuguese Brazilians, so on and so forth, because it really doesn't make any sense, right? And we keep accepting this narrative that they project on us, especially in America, right? For a very long time, you know, Black people, Black Americans, we used to call ourselves Afro-Americans, and it transitioned into African American. Now, a lot of us are now understanding our lineage, now understanding our roots, and it's Black American, foundational Black American, U.S. freedmen. We have a lot of these different terms. So coming here, one of the major differences that I've seen from Colombia to Brazil is the melanation of the people, our people, that, you know, we have a lot of similarities, the African features, the melanation, etc. Compared to Brazil, the statuses of those people. In Brazil, every person that I saw, this is my anecdotal experience, that had my melanation was homeless. Here in Colombia, people with my same melanation, I saw them working jobs. I saw them being, you know, bodyguards at doors or being policemen. I saw no Black Brazilian policemen. I'm not saying they don't exist, but I was in Brazil for 2 weeks. For 2 weeks. Now, the second week, I really can't count. They kind of locked down, but we were still going out and about. But nonetheless, I didn't see any Black Brazilian policemen, okay, in the Rio de Janeiro area in Copacabana district. But in Colombia, here in Medellin, I've seen Black security guards, I've seen Black policemen. We've seen a different array of dark melanated people in certain statuses. But that doesn't mean that there's no racism. That doesn't mean there's no racial bias. All of these things still exist. But what I'm telling you is, in Brazil, it was night and day. In Brazil, we didn't see anyone of dark melanation in any sort of high status or medium status. Like I told you before, we dealt with one guy who was Haitian. So he was immigrant to Brazil. He spoke about 3 or 4 languages. And that's the only real reason why he had a job. This is my belief, that he spoke about 4 languages. And most Brazilian melanated people maybe speak, they speak Portuguese and maybe some broken English, but not 4 languages. That's not the norm, right? And he wasn't essentially from the country. So a lot of these things you have to take into context. I see I have my buddy Ricky Manor on here. Good afternoon to you, sir. Hey, it's good over here, man. There are some pros and cons to both Brazil and Colombia, but I will tell you, your American dollar goes a lot longer in Colombia. It goes a lot longer in Colombia than it did Brazil. When I was in Brazil last year, $1 American dollar was worth anywhere between 5 and 6, the fluctuating of the currency rates. Here, I mean, it's like night and day. I mean, 50,000 pesos is only 12 American dollars. And I've been given, you know, people I've been dealing with a lot of these scenarios where yesterday, me and my buddy, we took a tour that was 12 hours. I mean, it was 11 hours. It was 11-hour tour, and we spent 100,000 pesos. And that was tipping, okay, because it was 94,000, but that was only 24 American dollars, okay? We paid both 24 American dollars. And during that 11-hour tour, we were provided breakfast, lunch, of course, all the travel. My buddy walked up this tall mountain that had, you know, cemented steps. And then also that included a boat ride. Maybe, I think it was maybe a 30, 45-minute boat ride. I know I posted some pictures. I will post some more pictures so you guys can see. Because the reason why I think it's important that I do these videos and I give you guys this content about traveling, because there's maybe some places that you really wanted to go, or some places that you never thought about going. Now, Brazil is very, very beautiful. South America, what I'm noticing, is a very beautiful continent, okay? Very beautiful continent. And we understand that kind of the whole South America continent, people, I'm just gonna put it under one label as Latino X, okay, Latina X, where a lot of people are either speaking Spanish or they're speaking Portuguese of some sort. But I think the most majority language in South America is Spanish, because Spain colonized the hell out of South America, with some exception with the Portuguese. But nonetheless, if you were to ask me, would you go to Brazil or would you go to Colombia first? I would probably have to really ask you, what's the purpose of your travel? Is it simply, getting out, exploring the country? Then I would tell you both. Is it about the food? I would say Colombia. When we was in Rio, don't get me wrong, Brazilian food is absolutely terrific, right? You've been to the Brazilian buffets, Brazilian barbecue, a bunch of different meats, a bunch of beef. But here they have a different array of different foods from all types of different countries. It's almost like living in America, okay? But it's different. It's different. Medellin is very mountainous, right? Everywhere we go, you got to go up and down mountains, even if you're walking, okay? Some of them are steep, some of them are shallow, but nonetheless, very, very mountainous. I heard that was the same for Bogota as well as Cartagena. And those are kind of the three major cities in Colombia. Now, in order, Bogota is around 10 degrees cooler than Medellin, okay? And then Medellin, I think we're around 77 degrees right now. And Bogota may be anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees cooler. So if you like the cold, I would tell you to go to Bogota. If you like mild tempered weather during this time of the year, I would tell you Medellin. If you like it hot, then I would tell you go to Cartagena, because Cartagena is on the beach, okay? It's right there on the shore. So it's very hot, it's very humid, similar to Brazil, okay? So if you like those things, then these are the places that you essentially need to travel. Here's a big difference. If you go to Brazil or Colombia, learn some of the language. Learn some of the language. Now, some of you may know Spanish from, high school, college. Maybe you've been to Mexico a couple of times, maybe Dominican Republic. I've been to all of these countries as well. And thank God I know some Spanish, which has been helping us, to travel, to have conversations with people, to essentially get things done. But I would tell you, more so than Mexico, learn Spanish if you're coming to Colombia. If you're going to Brazil, learn some Portuguese. And I'll just tell you the difference. If you are very fluent in Spanish, you will do okay understanding and learning some Portuguese, because they're very, very similar, okay? But if you don't know any language and you say, well, I'm gonna go to Brazil first, then I would tell you, take some classes, download Duolingo, Babbel, whatever language app, and learn Portuguese. But I would tell you, because Spanish is one of those languages, in my opinion, that is second to English. If someone say, hey, what are the 3 top languages you believe that will essentially help you navigate the globe? I would tell you these 3 languages in this 3 orders, okay? I would tell you English, Spanish, and Swahili. I do believe that Africa is going to, maybe anywhere from 10 to 15 years, try to make Swahili a continent-wide language where all of them can communicate, versus using English. But again, English, Spanish, and Swahili. Those are my 3 top languages. Now, if you want to go to Japan and you want to live in Japan, then learn Japanese. If you want to travel to Korea and live in Korea, then learn Hangul. But I'm talking about those 3 languages that will pretty much get you to have you communicate anywhere around the world. Because when you're in Korea, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, most Koreans know English. They get taught these things in school, just as well as Japan. So when you look at the world, majority of people are already speaking English, okay? And then when you look at a continent like South America, majority of the language is Spanish. And then if you go to Africa, of course, there's hundreds of thousands of languages and dialects. But when you go to East Africa, majority of those countries, when you're talking about Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, a lot of those countries are speaking Swahili. Okay, now if you go to South Africa, you can use English. You go to Ghana, you can use English. You go to Nigeria, you can use English. So a lot of these languages can really get you around and get your foot in the door to help you to understand different people. Okay, when it starts to you too, Lisa D. Good afternoon. He says, Colombia, the people see each other as Colombians, I've been told. Let's see here. Portuguese is harder for me to speak. I can't do it. So far, I really haven't seen any discrimination. Now, we thought we experienced some discrimination. Like last night, we went to a cigar lounge. The guy who was working there was a Afro Venezuelan, right? Had a great time. We were smoking. Say, hey, let's go back. Let's get dressed and hit up one of these, one of these spots. Let's see, because most of the music to me, I don't want to disrespect the culture, but it was salsa, merengue, cachacha, whatever. All of these different, Latin sounds, so to speak. Very, very beautiful music. Very good music. So we get back. We iron our clothes. We head out on a night on the town. We go to this one club called Victoria. This is within the area that we are. So we go up, we got our translator app out, and he said, hey, no single men allowed. We're like, so everybody that's going in there, couples, and my buddy like, look at the line. These are 4 guys by themselves with 1 girl, or all of these are not, women and men together. So I posed a question to the bouncer at the door. I said, hey, well, we see men alone that look single going inside of the club. And the guy responded, well, those people already have people inside. And my buddy had a good point. We're looking at the line like, there's no way you're keeping track of all these people if they have people inside or not, right? We're looking at wristbands. You're just giving them new wristbands. You're not checking the list. So he believed there was some sort of discrimination there. I don't know, right? I don't want to call it that quickly. A lot of things, come very relevant and real to me very quickly. I just, you have that language barrier. That's why I'm telling you to learn the language. When you have that language barrier, things become very, very difficult. Because me, if I had to say how much Spanish I know, I would give myself around 20 to 25%. I can say certain phrases, certain things, cuentos, how much. Sin cambio means no change. Baños or donde es baños, where's the bathroom. There are certain things I know how to say, right? And I'm very good at those words I'm learning, and that I've learned. Deturner, meaning stop. In some countries, alto is stop. And that's another thing. I've been learning Spanish, I don't know incorrectly or correctly, right? Because some words, if you download Duolingo, I'm learning the Spanish version, the Spain version of Spanish, okay? Then the Spain version of Spanish is different from the Mexican version of Spanish, which I live in Texas, so I probably should learn that, right? But then I also learned the Colombian form of Spanish. These are all the same language, very, very similar, right? It's all Spanish, but certain words are different, okay? Because if you don't know the difference, you can say a word in the Mexican dialect of Spanish and be very offensive to Colombian form of Spanish. So they essentially know what you're talking about, right? They know you're a foreigner, know you're trying. But I would definitely tell you, ladies and gentlemen, please learn the language when you're going to either Colombia or Brazil. Now, when it comes to the people, we really haven't had any problems in Brazil. We haven't had any problems in Colombia. So a lot of people are like, are the people nice? Are the people rude? Are the people, they're just people. I don't really have a gauge on whether they're just naturally nice people. Now, I will say this, the people in Ghana, very nice people. I know I told you that many, many times. Right off the bat, very polite, very nice. The only people who were not nice, in my opinion, and they were very aggressive, were the salesmen, okay? Other than that, very good people, okay? Let's see here. Countries are a bit different, indeed. Now, we talk about the infrastructure because my buddy, we was throwing around like, hey, what country would you rather live in? And he said he'd rather live in Rio. I said, well, if I had to choose one of the two, I would probably live in Colombia because literally you can come over here and plug up your American products, no issues. The only thing I really don't have a taste for is everything is on a hill or in a valley. It's just up and down, up and down. There's really no area that we've driven for more than 2 or 3 miles that was flat. And I'm pretty sure they have some areas. Now, where we went to Guadatepe, there were some flat areas there, very beautiful. And what's important about Guadatepe, not to be saying this wrong, is that this is where Pablo Escobar died. We actually, on the boat ride, we saw his actual home, and they have it in its original bombed form. Don't forget they bombed Pablo Escobar, and you know he had two houses or two connecting houses, and they're still in shambles, and they're leaving it as a historical landmark. I look at it as like they're leaving it as an example of drug cartels or drug dealers running rampant in Colombia and what's going to happen. I also thought about this too. How did Colombia become so prevalent? How did the infrastructure become so strong? I'm talking about 3 to 5 star restaurants, and on their pay scale, very expensive. But of course, you come up here with American dollars. It's when you learn the difference in the currencies, like, man, that's expensive, right? But it's really not expensive, but it was almost compared to America, right? But we're in a touristy spot. So any place you travel to, if you go to the tourist area, you will see that things are kind of somewhat comparable to American prices, right? You're not going to experience beauty like this in America. And I love America. I'm a foundational Black American. I love America. I'll be living there for a while. But when I tell you beautiful, and when we was at the cigar shop, the Venezuelan host, he was like, Venezuela is even more beautiful or just as beautiful as Colombia. And I was just like, wow. Because some of these, and I'm gonna show you guys some pictures on my channel. It was breathtaking. Like when people go on the edge of a mountain and you see like valleys and you see waterways, it's breathtaking. But this was just like an oasis where Pablo Escobar actually lived. When we was in Rio, the one thing that I didn't like about Rio was on the beach. The beach was dirty, okay? The beach was dirty. Now, I was told in Cartagena that their beach is similar to Rio Beach, that is dirty, that you have to go out to one of the islands off the coast where you can see, the ocean floor. But Rio Beach was dirty. And the plus side of that, there's a plus and a minus. The minus, the beach, the sand was dirty. It's not like they rake it like a resort and get all the trash out. The water wasn't clear in Rio off the shore. But I will say, anything you want, anything, we're talking about bracelets, shades, food, shrimp. I mean, they were selling everything on the Rio Copacabana beach. But other than that, I mean, beer, liquor, it was amazing. All the things that these guys was carrying up and down the beach. But if you say, hey, what one would you go to tell somebody to go to first so they can have a great experience of culture, food, people? I don't know. I mean, we enjoyed Rio, but our second week in Rio, they locked the entire country down because of COVID, because we did travel in the midst of COVID-19. But nonetheless, it was a great time in Rio. I really couldn't point you guys. I really want to lean one way or another because my preference will probably be Colombia, only because I'm a tech guy and I love just plugging in my appliances, right? And then Guadatepe was absolutely gorgeous. But when we was in Brazil, I did a video where they took us to these different islands. We drove 2 hours away, just like we did in Colombia. We drove 2 hours away. They took us all these different islands, and the ocean floor was clear. It wasn't, garbage and trash. It was crystal clear, crystal clean. We sat on the beach. We were drinking caipirinhas, right, which is the national Brazilian drink. I don't know the national Colombian drink. I know I posted a Colombian beer, but now I have to figure out what's the national Colombian drink. I'm gonna get one of those today when we go out later. I'm gonna go to the cigar lounge. But ladies and gentlemen, like I said, there's a couple of things you can do with your money, right? The first thing I would tell you, of course, is continue to educate yourself, make yourself better, and build generational wealth, right? However you want to build it, investing of some sort, saving, of course. Then the second thing is traveling. It just lifts the barriers that you have about a particular sort of people, right? I don't know. When I came over here, I guess some of my biases or my stereotypes would be because we all know Colombia to be very popular with cocaine. I just thought that it wasn't going to look as good as it did. I just thought that a lot of things were going to be in shambles. I thought that, you know, cartels would be running the streets, and that, except like in Mexico, they protect the tourist areas. No, I'm pretty sure they have cartels, you know, just like any other country. Like in America, we have cartels. We just don't name them that. We name them gangs, mafias, and mob. And the biggest cartel in America is the U.S. government. But I'll stay away from that conversation today. Okay, I'll stay away from that conversation today. But nonetheless, my whole perception of South America has definitely changed from Rio to Colombia. And, you know, next year, we don't know, we're going to throw, for our guys trip, we're going to throw a bunch of names in a hat. We don't know where essentially we want to go, where we want to adventure to. But man, traveling the world is one of the best things, you know, we ever started to do, especially as guys, just getting out, traveling together, male bonding, pushing ideas off one another, business ideas, just going out there, just having a great time. And I would encourage any group of guys, any group of women, go out with your sister girls, go out with your brethren and travel the world and have those different experiences. And just like my wife and I, we go to different places together, right? My wife, she's about to go to Costa Rica. Am I going with her? No. Have I ever been to Costa Rica? No. But I want her to have that experience, which is very important. It's so elevating, family. It's so elevating. But again, when it comes to the food, I got to give it to Colombia, because everywhere we went in Brazil, I know I'm all over the place. Just stay with me. When we went to Brazil, everywhere we went, this had steak and fries. I mean, here we had Turkish food, we had Peruvian food, we've had Colombian food, Chinese food. I mean, they have all sorts of different foods here. I would tell you this, when we was on a tour yesterday, and we had, and I'm gonna show a picture of that as well. I showed that picture of a traditional Colombian lunch. Allegedly, I don't know. But it was grilled chicken, pinto beans, rice, salad, and I believe that's essentially all what it has been. And it tasted okay. It didn't rock the boat, but any traditional dish, what I'm noticing, has not been like super delicious, right? But we understand that food and taste evolve over time. But I will tell you this. When me and my family was in Ghana in February, and we had this traditional soup with fufu, to this day, it was the best soup I've ever had in my life. And again, you could probably get some of these things in America, but when you're in that country, they fix it a certain type of way. And believe me, when that Ghanaian guy told me that, you'll be dipping inside the soup and you'll be like, it was that delicious. I mean, we didn't do that, but it was that delicious. We actually used a smoke, but but it was delicious. It's the best soup I've had so far. And I've had a lot of delicious soups. I had delicious soups in Korea. I've had a lot of delicious soups in Japan, but that Ghanaian soup, it had goat, and on the side it had fufu. Man, hey, the best. And I would tell you the best, what's that rice? I forgot the name of that rice that a lot of West African countries eat. Forgot the jollof rice. The best jollof rice I've ever had was from Senegal, by the way. The best jollof rice I had was from Senegal, okay? Let's see here. Okay, I see everybody's in and out. But nonetheless, that's just a quick update, guys. I didn't want to stay too long. But yeah, of course, when I get back, I'll give you some more content. I'm continue to post picture for you guys. so you can really see the culture, the people, the food, etc. Anything that I find interesting, I will let you guys know. You guys have a great and wonderful day. I'll see you guys on the next one. I'm out.